Hello, my name is Sudhabaral, and in this video we are going to talk about factoring trinomial of the form ax squared plus bx plus c. So in order to factor a trinomial of the form ax squared plus bx plus c, just like the example that we have here, what we do is we need to find two numbers such that when we multiply them, or the product of those two numbers is equal to the product of the leading coefficient and the constant term. So in this case, which is 3 times 4, 12. And the sum of those two numbers must be the coefficient of x, this one right here, and in this case, it is -8. So in order to find those two numbers, what we do is we'll go ahead and factor this 12 and find two numbers. So if we factor this 12, we know that we obtain 12 by multiplying 3 and 4. So we'll just go ahead and write 3 times 4. Now, what we do here is we try to combine these factors and find two numbers such that the sum is -8. Here, we really don't have to worry about the product because these are the factors of 12, and no matter how we combine them, we are always going to get 12. One more thing that we have to pay attention here is the product is 12, which is positive 12. That means both numbers must be positive or both numbers must be negative. And then we have a sum of -8 here. So that means both numbers must be negative. Then only we'll get a positive product and the negative sum. So if I combine -3 and -4, I'm not going to get -8. So these two factors are not going to work out. So what we do is we'll go further. We'll factor this further. So 3 we cannot factor. So 3 times we can factor this 4 into 2 times 2. Now, if I take the first two numbers, if I combine these two, I get 6. And then here I have 2. Now, if we know that we are going to have both the numbers negative. So if I make these both numbers negative, then I get -6 times -2, which is positive 12, and -6 plus -2 is -8. So the numbers that we are looking for are -6 and -2. Now we'll go ahead and start factoring this. So we have 3x squared minus 8x plus 4. Now what we do is this equals, now we'll go ahead and write the factors. So the factors are x plus the first number, which is -6. So x plus -6 is x minus 6 times x plus -2, which means x minus 2. Now the last thing, we have to do one more thing here. The last thing that we are going to do is we will take this leading coefficient here. Okay, so we'll take the leading coefficient and we divide these numbers here by the leading coefficient. So let's go ahead and do that. So if we divide 6 by 3 and 2 by 3, now what we get here is we'll reduce this fraction. So 6 divided by 3 is just 2 over 1, which is just 2. So the first factor is x minus 2. And then look at this fraction here. It is 2 over 3, and the fraction is reduced. We cannot reduce this fraction further, so it's not giving us a whole number. So in that case, what we do is we take this denominator and we'll just move that over here as the coefficient of x. So that becomes 3x minus 2. So the factors of this trinomial are x minus 2 times 3x minus 2. Let's look at another example. So here, the product is, so the coefficient of the leading term is 1. So 1 times -12, so the product is -12. And the sum of the two numbers that we are looking for is 4, which is positive 4. So now our sum is positive and the product is negative. Since the product is negative, we know that the sign of those two numbers should be opposite. So we have positive and negative number. Okay, so since the product is negative, we cannot have both positive or both negative. So they have to have opposite sign. And then the sum is positive. That means the larger number or the bigger number will have a positive sign and the smaller number will have a negative sign. So let's go ahead and do the same thing. Let's factor this down. Let's not worry about that negative sign now. Just let's go ahead and find the numbers. So when we factor 12 into two factors, so we can go ahead and do 2 times 6. Okay. And then we know that the larger number should have a positive sign. So let's go ahead and make that 2 negative and then see if we get what we want. Okay, so negative 2 times 6 is negative 12. That's good. Now negative 2 plus 6 is positive 4. That means the numbers that we are looking for are negative 2 and positive 6. Now we are going to go ahead and factor this. So we have x squared plus 4x minus 12 equals, we'll write the factors as x plus the first number, which is negative 2. So that gives us x minus 2. And then x plus the second number, which is 6. So x plus 6. So here the leading coefficient is 1. So if we divide 2 by 1, we still get 2. If we divide 6 by 2, sorry, 6 by 1, we still get 6. So we really don't have to divide by the coefficient here since it is 1. So the factors of this trinomial are x minus 2 and x plus 6. Let's look at one more example. So when you're doing this type of problem, one thing that we need to consider at first is if there is any common factor in all the three terms, then we need to factor that out. So if we look over here, we have x cubed, x squared, and x. That means I have a common factor of x. So that's what I'm going to factor out first. So this trinomial equals x, so factor out the common factor of x, times, then I have 5x squared plus 19x plus 12. Now we got one of the factors, which is x. Now what we are going to do next is we are going to take this trinomial and we'll factor this exactly the way that we did for the previous two examples. So we are going to look at two numbers so that when we multiply them, or the product is the product of 5 and 12, which is 60, and the sum is the coefficient of x, which is 19. Now, in order to find those numbers, we are going to go ahead and factor 60. The easy way to start factoring that one is just go back and look how we got that 60. We got 60 by multiplying 5 and 12. So the first two factors that I'm going to look at are 5 times 12. Now, if I combine 5 and 12, I'm not going to get 19, rather I'll get 17. So these two numbers are not going to work out. So what we do is we'll go ahead and factor 12 further. So this is 5 times, so if you factor 12, we get 3 times 4. Now, if we combine these two, 5 and 3, we get 15, and then we have 4. Now, we know that 15 times 4 is, of course, 60, and also 15 plus 4 is 19. That means the numbers that we are looking for are 15 and 4. So we are going to go ahead and factor this exactly the way that we did for the previous example. So this equals x times, the first factor is x plus the first number, which is 15, times x plus the second number. And now remember, there's one more thing that we need to do. We'll take this leading coefficient and we divide these two numbers by the leading coefficient. So let's go ahead and do that. So we are going to divide 15 by 5 and 4 by 5. Now, the next thing is we'll reduce those fractions and see what we get. So 15 divided by 5 is just 3. So we get x plus 3. And here 4/5 is a reduced fraction. So we cannot reduce that further. So what we do is we move that denominator to the as the coefficient of x right here, and we'll write 5x plus 4. So the factors of the given trinomials are x times x plus 3 times 5x plus 4. We'll just do this much for this video. I hope this will help you.